Viz with her data. And today I am missing my counterpart, Danushka de Oliveira, but I have some exciting content for today. I'm with my coworkers and I'll let them introduce themselves, but we are going to talk about our Iron Viz experience this year. So with that, I'll pass it to you ladies if you want to introduce yourselves.
Hey, do you want to go?
I can go first. Hey everybody, I'm Jade Corley. I am a Tableau social ambassador, and this is my first year through as a part of the cohort. It was amazing, and I know we just started a new one, so excited to be back. I guess it's round 2. But I'm from the Greenville, South Carolina area, small town, but big fun. And like Jennifer said, we all work at Analytic Vizion, so it's really wonderful to get to work with some amazing, smart, talented women, especially in the Tableau community. What else about me? Let's see. My new hobby I've picked up outside of Tableau is pickleball. I think I'm 3 years behind that trend, but I love it. It's been so much fun.
Oh, that's fantastic. So now you can do a Viz about pickleball.
I know. That's a good idea.
Right. Sports ball. I'm terrible. Anyway.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Katie Benton. I am an analyst at Analytic Vizion, and this is technically my first time doing Iron Viz if you don't count me forgetting to hit the submit button a year ago, but it's been a great experience.
Oh, gosh.
Oh my God, I heard for you.
100% complete.
So yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It
all
just
good.
Was not surprising. Classic me. But I am located in Charlotte, North Carolina, and super fun. I'm from Florida originally, so I like to go back home and collect shark teeth, and that's one of my favorite things to do. Also, data viz. So I'm just excited to be here and talk about our Iron Viz experience.
Yay! And thank you guys so much. I'm super excited. And not currently present, she might join later, is another one of our coworkers, Lauren Morrison, who I dearly love. We're super excited to talk to everybody today. I've worked on Iron Viz, gosh, 4 or 5 times now, but
wow,
I think this
cool.
experience this year was super unique. And I think a lot of that was because we did it kind of as a team. I felt like it was a team effort. I felt that we had a Teams channel. We were chatting back and forth, answering questions, helping navigate through some hurdles. So yeah, I think we're excited to kind of talk through our experience. The first question that I had is, why did you guys initially enter the Iron Viz? What led you to do that?
Do you want me to take it first, Kate?
Sure.
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
I don't know. When you think about Iron Viz, I think it's at first very intimidating. It's a quick turnaround. You have to find your own data. The topic sometimes can feel so broad, you don't know where to start. And so it's very intimidating. But honestly, what inspired me to actually go for it, because this would be my second attempt or second time putting in for the qualifier. Nelson Davis, at work, he's like, hey, we want you guys to try this out. We want to motivate y'all to participate, go for it. And so he kind of encouraged us as a leader to put ourselves out there and go for it. So that's what kind of was the catalyst to our group of who's doing it. And it ended up just being us 4 ladies. And I was like, man, girl power. Okay, let's do this. We can, do this together. So, but as the topic, it actually, I had this idea a few years ago, and I just never I kind of had the data for it, but I never actually put it into practice because you can never find the time. My wedding was in 2022, and so I just had all this data from my own wedding, and with this theme of being love, I was like, okay, let's talk about my relationship, my love for my new husband, and our wedding, and use that as inspiration to pour into my Iron Viz, and that's how it came alive. So.
And by the way, I love your topic, and I think I've joked with you before that your wedding was the first official wedding that my boys attend via viral, or not viral, but they were watching a live Teams recording from I think Nelson and Nathan that were recording live stream for us, and we had it playing at the kitchen table, and they were just so amazed, and they kept asking, "Is he going to kiss her?" So
cute.
I love that. My boys officially attended the wedding.
Oh my God, I feel honored.
So hilarious.
God, they're so cute.
Yeah. How about you, Katie?
So I think for me, in addition to what Jade said about Nelson just really encouraging us to step out of our comfort zone and do the experience so that we can build our data viz skills, that was super important to me because I think it is such a big undertaking, just time, effort, mental capacity to stick with it. So knowing that I had the support system all the way through felt like a huge just motivator to do it because I don't know, it's hard for me to do things by myself. So knowing that I had that support system alongside of me was huge. But then also that just win or learn, you can't lose. So I knew despite it being difficult to go through, hey Lauren,
Hello.
just despite it being like a difficult undertaking, I knew that that support system was going to be there for me. So I think that was honestly the biggest motivator, is just knowing that I had people alongside with me kind of pushing through the same way that I was going to be pushing through.
Awesome. And hi, Lauren. I'm so happy that you're joining. So
The
we're
dream
talking
team's all
about, like,
here.
Hey.
So we're talking about reasons to enter. I'll share it next, and then if Lauren, if you want to share why you entered the Iron Viz. I think for me, it's kind of funny thinking about it. Like, I think I have this love affair with the Iron Viz, only because the first time I ever learned about Iron Viz, I was sitting on the HR side of things. I wasn't working in Tableau, but I really liked these two cool people in my office, and I was always walking down the hall to see what they were working on because, you know, I was always interested in data, and I had seen Tableau. Like, wait, what? You're doing a competition and you're working on this? Like,
And
it's
it was
really
so
cool.
silly.
And it's like a global, and it just blew my mind. And watching Kevin and Danushki work on their Iron Viz entry and how they were supporting each other, that was kind of my first glimpse into what the community was really all about. And since then, I was really excited to say I had competed every year except for last year. And when I didn't have a topic, I was like, I'm not going to push myself. It's okay. Let it go, girl. And it burned me.
Yes.
Every day after, it burned me that I didn't do it. And so this year I'm like, come hell or what, a high water, I need to do this, because it just felt, I think the Iron Viz for me represents like that one time of year that I go hard, that one time of year that I try to really dig in, and whether or not the stars align and I find a good topic or I have all the hours to spend in it, it isn't always an easy path, but it's time for me to focus on my development and really put something out that I can be proud of. So thank you, ladies, for helping me focus on that and get it done.
Yes.
Ditto.
I love how you described it. Like you said, yes, it's hard. Yes, it's time consuming. All the things Katie said, like mentally it's hard, emotionally it's hard. But it's your marathon. It's like the one time a year that you've been training for it here and there all year, and you put it all out there and go for it. And I don't know, that was a good analogy that was encouraging to me. It's like, we may not be running a real marathon, but in our space, this is a marathon. Like, this is awesome. Go for it.
It's the big show.
Yeah.
How about you, Lauren? And I know we introduced ourselves briefly, so if you want to introduce yourself, we're putting you on the spot and tell us why.
Yes, Lauren Morrison. Yeah, so I had just started at AV right before the Iron Viz competition last year. And I think the theme was games, and I had like a cool idea for it, but I was like, I just don't think that I have like the skill set to go for this, and it was such a limited amount of time. But then, like, in my year at AV, I felt like I had learned so much and improved on my Tableau skills so much. I was like, why not go for it? And the theme was, pretty broad, so we had a lot of ideas. And really, like, when I bounced my idea of, like, it was the very basic part of it, the 4 Greek root words, off of Jade, and she loved it and kind of encouraged me to go for it. So that's really why I did it.
I love that we all encouraged each other. And it was such a good idea. I was like, oh my gosh, if she doesn't do this idea, I'm gonna steal it. Like,
it was an awesome idea.
Yeah, it really grew from from that, because at first I just wanted to do like those 4 words, but as I started to dig into it, I realized that there was like a bigger story to be told. But
Speaking of, do you guys want to segue and share your screens and talk us through your project? I think everybody would love to see it. I know myself, the minute that I'm done, I'm trying to I try to tunnel vision and not pay attention to anybody else, unless it was you guys, of course, like while I'm working on it. But the minute I was like pencils down, I was so excited to see all of the entries and look through them and dig in. So if you guys want to, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, who wants to go first? Share your screen and talk through it. No volunteers, I can.
Well, I'll keep our order. I'll go first.
Yeah.
All right.
I love our way of deciding.
This is why I was filming y'all, because we're all absolutely ridiculous. Okay. So this is my Tableau Public, my Iron Viz submission. Thank you for a little bit of ChatGPT and your guys' help on a title suggestion. Okay.
Love the title.
Love. And I started to think that I wasn't going to have enough. And then I went from being like, oh no, I have too much. So time box me if you're like, if I've been talking for way too long, Jennifer, Jade, please stop. So but my, like I said, my inspiration was my own wedding and tying it into love and how like, not only my own love story, but what does a wedding and love story look like around the world? So it's focusing on going from micro to macro, my love story, weddings in the US, global weddings, and then, hey, maybe you're a bride looking at this and you need help planning your budget. Let's use all this data and help make your life as a bride a little easier. And I love making my Viz's more artsy. Like I have like my gardening Viz, I kind of wanted it to look like plants growing up out of the ground. I've got one where it looks like a football, and my what are they called? Barbell charts are the laces. And so this was supposed to kind of symbolize a wedding guest book that you're like flipping through.
Which I love.
Thank you. You can either
long form like so many.
Yeah, and I've done so much like long form, and it has to fit on one screen with no interactivity. This was kind of fun to have it like pages. So let's see, which one should I hit? Which should I go in order and just touch a few, or do y'all remember highlights and your favorites of certain things?
I think it was fun to see. I think when you got into the analysis, I loved your story. I also loved your analysis. I don't have a favorite.
Okay, I'll skip around. I did a lot of text heavy, which I'm like, no one's gonna read this. But it's our love story, our timeline, and then I've got what I spent on my wedding and how it compares to averages, and then I'll talk about the party and the vendors. And so, I mean, I'll just flip through really fast, nothing crazy. I'll highlight too, it was really cool sharing this with y'all from like my low fidelity wireframe in Miro to a version on Tableau Public, and saying, because these used to be just gray boxes. And then I don't know if it was one of y'all or maybe Nathan that was like, hey, make those look like, table cards or something, make it look a little more feminine. And so that was fun. That was some really good feedback. This one I think is one of my favorites, just because I didn't even intentionally see this. I was trying to make October look bigger, but it actually looks like a wedding ring.
I totally thought it was intentional when you first showed us. I'm like, how creative
I'm
is
not
that?
that creative.
It's a diamond ring.
But each, like, from my lens to US weddings to global, kind of focuses on like, how did the couples meet? And maybe some analysis of like by, what age group, where did people meet? And then the engagement. So usually it's like, what is the most popular month? How long do they spend planning a wedding? And then maybe some other like analysis. And then the top month of getting married and a little bit of detail as to why. I won't get too crazy. I have some average cost of weddings, trending, and then by state. And then the party. This was looking at, okay, when day of, who were the vendors you hired? What kind of venue did you have? What was your theme? What was your colors? Just like highlighting some top trends there, and then some average cost of each of those. And then
I think that's my favorite page. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do love it.
I know I'm going fast. I tried to also balance like easy vizzes that are, straightforward, like a bar chart, but then also test myself with some of the like Sankeys and other things. So again, how do couples meet? You've got like a little bit of like hovering and interactivity that you can do there. How long to plan your wedding, most popular month to get married. I'll just keep skipping around. Have some maps with some dynamic zone visibility, tried to use some of the new things that happened in the animations, like see what Tableau can do, watch it move, watch it play. This one, I liked the bump chart. You can click, like if you want to see.
This is my fave.
Oh, okay.
This is the one I was thinking of. I was like, wait a minute, this is the one.
So this one is what vendors are the most important to book on your wedding day by country. So photographers, the number one in most, all of them except for the US. And so then you could hover and see what was number one. Oh, the US ranks dress. And so if you wanted to see who else likes to, pick that as their top, you can click the little dress icon and the bump chart changes, and you can see like where it changes by each country. So like it's a lower priority way. Oh, thank you. I tried to do the whole minimalist like color pop, like try to just fade things to the back, bring pink to the front.
Love it.
Thank you. This is actually my favorite one. So it's for a bride, let's help you plan. If you know your total budget, you can enter that here, and it takes like the I think this was Lauren's idea. This is Lauren's idea that like was tweaked and kind of came to life. I don't have that much money. So
high five, Lauren.
Credit to the not planning book that I had. It had a budget planner in there.
Yeah, so well done. It really is a good bookend of bringing all of the analysis together.
Mm-hmm. So you put your budget, you can see the knot had different averages in the wedding wire, so I put both in there. And then say, like I captured all the vendors, but maybe you don't want to have a photo booth. You could click and it would remove it from the analysis. Maybe you want to plan your own wedding. You click, it removes it from the analysis. And so then like your budget will redistribute
cool.
based on what's in there. Yeah. I feel like this is the most mathy like of all the visits. But no, it was fun. Golly, looking at it now, I'm like, wow, it was so fun to make. But I'm thinking about like actually there was a lot of work. Like blood, sweat, and tears, man, to get this to happen.
Yeah.
And
but I loved your interactivity. Yeah.
Thank you. And you close the book and you can, I've got my sources there on my little wedding cards in the back and a little quote. So actually ended up being a lot, but it was, I don't know, it means a lot to me. I think like once you pour into like Iron Viz and the theme of love, I feel like you do pour a little bit of yourself into the story, the view, and the analysis. So it's kind of cool to show that in a viz, express yourself.
Yeah, and I find that to be the most endearing. I think for me, when I see work from other people, I love when I see pieces of them. And I don't know if that's because I feel like I pour out my heart into things that I create, that I'm a little too personal at times, but it just, I find it. Yeah, I love connecting that way because I feel like I learn a little something new and a little more, and not only you're seeing their creativity and their analysis, but yeah, I see who you are. I like it. I love it.
I think it's a good form of expression. Like some people paint, some people write. I don't know. I feel like I do express myself and process some things through data viz, which I don't know. Super nerd. Anyway.
But you're of like nerds here, so it's so perfect.
I think that's a good segue into Katie's.
Okay, let me share my screen. I need to take like a deep breath before.
No,
I love that we were totally, for the records, that we're all like fair game. I totally put everybody on the spot. I was like, hey, I'd like to record all of our work. Can you all join this call at this time?
No practice
today. So yes, wonderful. Go for it, Katie.
Right. So this is something that I was not sure about this whatsoever. I don't even know if I'm still sure about this, but I've committed to paper. It's out there. But it's this journey that I will be on, I think, for the rest of my life is sort of fighting to love my differences. And I think we're all kind of on that journey, regardless of what our differences are. But this one on ADHD has been something that I have been continuing to learn about more and more as sort of the years go on. And I didn't really start to learn about it until maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, way after I was really even diagnosed. But when the theme came out about love, I was like, okay, I need to do something that I'm not only like super, super passionate about, but something that I have not experience in, but can relate to. And I forget what, I think it was the qualifier call, and I don't remember whose piece of advice this was, but I just remember someone saying like their best advice that they could give is like get in the data and like experience it. And so I knew I wanted to somehow integrate a story, like my own personal story, and somehow tie it back to data viz and being able to sort of show the numbers through that, but then add in sort of like some personal narrative there. So my topic is one that I think is sensitive, at least like to me, just because I'm still on this journey and I'm actively going to be on it each day. But over the years, I kind of had mentioned I've been learning more and more about this and what it looks like in me and other people, and especially women. And, there's all these podcasts out there, and I ended up getting like a workbook about ADHD in women. This was like a couple of years ago. And so when I thought of this idea, I was like, okay, this is like a huge passion of mine. I've been learning more about it. I know there has to be a ton of research out there. And so I just sort of dove into what I had already learned about women and the fact that they are underdiagnosed for many sort of different reasons. But the more I kind of listen to like Mel Robbins talks about it, there's a ton of research out there. I was actually inspired by, I think Jackie Moore had done a viz on ADHD, and I was like, okay, if other people are talking about this, then I think it's time for me to talk about it too and sort of share what I've learned and add in my own experience to it. That's kind of how I landed on my topic. But I think the main thing for me was figuring out the story that I wanted to tell prior to really trying to build any sort of visuals from it. And so I knew that my own story also involves my brother, and I didn't really realize that I had ADHD until my younger brother was diagnosed. And whether it's due to like women kind of naturally internalizing their symptoms that they experience, versus men being more externalizing those symptoms or things that they experience with it. uh, I, I'm still kind of exploring and reflecting upon my own journey, but everything I kind of have in here goes through those phases that I went through of being sort of like at first, oh, like this makes sense as to, why this is a thing. And then being like, wait, why did this take so long for me to figure out? To, okay, if this is what I have, what does this mean for me? And kind of how do I turn that from like confused or trying to like understand my brain into, okay, let's like explore the brain and figure out how we can sort of make this a positive and love our differences, because like I said, everyone has differences. I'm sorry, I feel like I've been talking for a long time, but
No, it's a
this
beautiful.
It's a beautiful story, Katie. We love it.
Thank you. But so yeah, this kind of just ties in the fact that women are overlooked a lot of the time, and I think just tries to pick me out as an example of that and tie in what my experience has been throughout those sort of different phases of the journey. So I think the theme in here is just kind of comparing men against women, and then I sort of tie in my own experience, and then I'm really thankful that my brother was okay with me pulling in some of his experiences as well. So it just kind of goes through my sort of aha moment being like, oh, that makes sense for a lot of what I've experienced, to, okay, but why did this take so long, and me wanting to understand why this was missed. And then goes into, okay, if this is who I am and I know XYZ, let's figure out how to make this a positive thing and start looking at it from a place of love rather than, I think, shame is the biggest thing. So I have been just so inspired by other women that I've learned about who have come out and started talking about this, like this podcast. I think it's called ADHD for Smartass Women. That was a huge inspiration for me.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so just I think knowing that there are other people out there with whether it's, experiencing ADHD or something else, it's just been so inspiring to know that people are talking about those things. And so that was kind of the thing that made me feel like, okay, I know this is scary to put out there, but at the same time, if I felt inspired by others talking about their stuff, then hopefully this can inspire other people. So that was kind of my journey. I feel like I talked forever, and this is my Viz. And I don't think I talked to the Viz too much, but
Hey,
that's
no, that's
okay.
going to encourage people to actually look at it and read through it themselves. You gave the highlight, the why, the inspiration. Like, dig in more, guys.
And the story is so beautiful, Katie. I think
It
I
is.
shared, but if I didn't, I was diagnosed ADD in grade school, and it was a stigma, and it was a negative. I was one of the kids that went to the nurse and took Ritalin, and kids knew that I was taking Ritalin. So there was a stigma. And now, as a mother with a child with ADHD, I love thinking about it as neurodivergence now, and not ADHD, ADD. I love it because in my mind, we are all very different. So I love you sharing your story and being vulnerable and pulling the data forward for awareness. I love going to the topics that, I don't know, for some feels touchy.
They're scary. Yeah, they're scary.
Because they're not. They're scary because we haven't talked enough about them, right?
Right. But then once you do talk about them, I don't know, the reward for how scary it is definitely worth it. So
awesome. I love doing this with you guys.
I know. Your Viz, Katie, it's just not only is the story beautiful, the Viz itself is beautiful. Like, it has a really great flow. The colors are great. Like, I don't know. I'm a fan.
Nice.
We're a fan. We like each other. It's kind of awesome. We get to work together. Okay, I'm going to share mine real quick because I think I have somebody coming with a delivery. So just in case I get pulled away, I'm still here, I promise. So I don't know how to talk about mine. It's kind of funny. I said I would. Now I'm like, wait, what am I doing? So if you've watched, there's a Netflix special called Live to 100, The Secrets Behind the Blue Zones. And me and my husband Ethan watched it a couple of months ago before Iron Viz came out. And it's something that for whatever reason really lights me up. And it's such a nerdy thing to get excited about. But background on it, we actually watched a National Geographic documentary on the author and the man behind the philosophy a couple of years ago. And it was just really exciting. And I think the reason for me why is now that I'm a mom, whereas before my lifestyle, I didn't give a second thought. Now suddenly thinking into my own longevity really is real. I never once considered 100. How attainable is that? Is my lifestyle supporting that? And it was watching this documentary, thinking through what he calls the Power 9, which is the first thing I'm displaying on my Viz. And it's just it's more about your life holistically, less about all of the right foods that you're eating. And that was the other piece that I've loved. I've never been a big diet person. I'm going to go have a salad and feel good. I'm not going to make those good choices. I'm going to eat a bag of chips and I'm going to feel terrible. But what if I had other choices I could make that would be easier for me? Beyond that, I think that the story that I kind of weave into the Viz is I think becoming a mom and putting my boys first for the last 5, 6, 7 years. There's a lot I forgot to do for myself, but it was this most recent special that we watched. It really kind of helped re-energize that in me. And the most exciting part, which is at the very bottom of my Viz, and I'll show you in a second, was they have a survey that you can take on the website. And I took it recently, and some of the lifestyle changes that I've made actually did extend my life. So anyway, that's kind of the genesis of the topic. And now let me talk to the Viz because I can't do both apparently either. So the top here is the Power 9, as Dan describes it, and it's after he's like a National Geographic explorer, and he had a team that were going into these pockets called blue zones. And for anybody that doesn't know, a blue zone is a pocket of population in the world where people are living to 100. And there's a phrase centenarians, but I can't say it very well. But anyway, in that pocket of, or in that population, there's a high concentration of people living beyond 100. And why is that? And why is it in that pocket? And so it was a study of understanding, is it a social habit? Is it an eating habit? What is it? What is it that for these individuals, they're living longer? And so they came up with, after doing the study and researching these various different pockets, I think initially they found 5, they came up with this Power 9 of things that you can do in your life that will have tangible return. So if you are active and just every day you're active and do X, Y, and Z, that actually is extending your life. So the top here, I tried to recreate what he uses on his website in Tello, just as a fun exercise, like, hey, I really like that. That's kind of cool. Let me go ahead and try to do that too. And the hover action is, go ahead.
I was like, I'm reminded of when you were like, we have a Teams chat for like data viz and stuff, and you were like, wait, how do I make this pie chart? But the axis just a little, a little like it's a little off because to match the original thing. And yeah. I know you did a lot of work to make that happen, and it's beautiful. Like a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. And there's always like a list of things after that you're like, oh, if only I had more time, I would have X, Y, and Z. But I think everybody that I've talked to in the Tableau land knows that I am really bad with radial charts. They aren't as complicated as I make them, but that geometry just doesn't come to me. And so I knew right off the gate when I saw this on the website, I was like, I'm going to make that. And I'm going to make myself do a radial chart. So it's kind of a fun exercise. But each section are colored according to, really it's about connecting. It's about moving naturally. It's having the right outlook, whether that's religion or just an understanding of your purpose in life, and then eating wisely. And so each of these kind of talk through that, and I keep hovering and it's really distracting. But then woven in here is some of my story. I use these colored bars at the beginning just to kind of break up this, what is my personal story out of like, what is Viz. I think my challenge and the reason that I got this actually almost didn't get finished like 5 times was I felt like I was trying to tell too many stories, right? Mm-hmm. I had my story, I had this data, or not really data. I had this philosophy that I was trying to weave into my story. And then I had data that I was trying to find to support the philosophy and so on, right? It would have been an easy thing to go to the website that he created for the Power 9 and whatnot, and click on it and download this database. That just doesn't happen in Iron Viz world. And it didn't happen for me. So I think that was honestly jumping ahead, but that was probably my biggest challenge. And so then in the Viz, it was like, how do I differentiate the stories within this and make sure I'm piecing them together wisely? But zooming out, then I go and kind of recreate the population pyramid. I think a lot of people have seen, but I was trying to illustrate this so that we get context on, but why would we care if how many people are living to 100? Well, we care because it's not happening. Very few people are living to 100 when you consider the total population. And while it is happening more, not enough, honestly. And so then I took a couple of different things to support the original philosophy. One item was a happiness index. Well, happiness kind of feels like it supported the idea of having right outlook. Those things seem to be in alignment. So could I use that to support life expectancy? And instead of trying to pull out data that didn't exist and create that data, it was, can I do my own research to validate their claim? We already know the happiness index exists. What does that say about life expectancy? And for this, I was excited to do a correlation test. I've not done that in Tableau yet. So again, another fun thing I learned. And there actually was a very strong positive correlation between life expectancy and happiness index. So if you're happy, maybe you'll live long. The other thing that was shocking Again, as a consultant, we ask ourselves, like, so what? I kind of had to take a step back again. So what, why do we really care? And the thing that's shocking to me is our life expectancy ranking as a country across the globe. And so I expected when I pulled this that we'd be towards the top. Living in the US, I feel like we're every possible amenity.
Don't get
and
Lauren started.
I just felt like we should live
I'll
longer.
just stay muted.
Yeah.
I had a preconceived hypothesis of where I thought we would see, and we are barely scraping by in the top 50. That was shocking to me. See, I had a little arrow and they changed the color. That's us at 47th. So then it became this gut feeling of call to action. If I wasn't already inspired enough by the documentaries, then I was like shocked and angry that we don't have quite the life expectancy that I would want to see. Throughout the bottom here, you know, I was trying to pull pieces that I thought were supporting their philosophy, and I didn't have the exact data. So religion itself was actually not a direct correlation. And the thing I thought about when I pulled this, I was really discouraged. This is another moment where I was like, okay, I guess I'm just not going to do this. I started thinking about it more, and having religion itself probably isn't the same as what they're pointing to. Their philosophy is that you're active in a community. So a healthy diet isn't enough. Having a community isn't enough. The call of action that they had was that you're active and you're participating, you're seeing these people regularly, and that are part of your life. And so I think that my write-up and my take was, okay, so it's not enough just to attend. Like, if this is going to have an impact on my life, I need to get more active. And what's funny is I actually started volunteering at my church. I was like, okay, it's one little thing I could do, you know, that I'm not currently doing.
No, and I love that you still kept it. Like, I feel like sometimes we have a story, we're like, oh, I'm going to find data to support this thing that I think or my hypothesis. Oh, shoot, the data didn't say it. Well, then I'm not doing Iron Vizion. I'm not going to show it.
I did think about doing that.
I know. I'm glad you left it. And I think I like your point of, like, at first, like, because I am a religious person, and at first it's discouraging. It's like, oh shoot, like, this isn't a good look. But I think, like you said, if you relate it back to truly what that means, you can be religious as like a checklist of, you know, doing and going through the motions, or you can be religious as having like a deeper relationship, like, with the higher power and your community, and grow in that. And that's what it's talking about. So I guess it depends on what's their definition of religion.
Right.
But it's really cool. I think it promotes good conversation, which is what database is supposed to do, right? Get people asking more questions, digging in.
Yeah. And it did help me really process it a little bit more, because, you know, me and my husband were already on a path where we were trying to make good life choices and, like, get on a healthier path, and not directly correlated, but it was really funny how this did subtly influence a lot of our changes, which I tried to weave in some comedy in here. But one was like, okay, well, volunteering seems like a simple change, and one that's been very rewarding. So then we can move on to, like, diet and food, and I'm talking way too long on this, but I can let everybody else talk to it. But diet seemed to have an impact. There was some sections, these are the original, I said 5, but there was originally 6. No, I'm sorry, there were 5. My gosh, it's been too long since I've looked at this. There were 5 original blue zones, and I'm comparing their diet against the average US. And so you can see how it's different. And this one's kind of funny. In Okinawa, a large part of their diet are sweet potatoes, like purple sweet potatoes. They're actually very, very nutritious, and maybe that's part of the reason why they live longer.
Well, I'll say I watched that, and, like, looking at your Viz, I tried the purple sweet potatoes. Gross. I didn't cook them right or something. They were disgusting. I was like, guess I'm dying, not, you know, before 100, because these are nasty.
That's hilarious.
Let's go with the Sardinia diet. That's what I'm gonna do.
I'll try it.
Yes.
I think that's hilarious.
Oh my God.
This is me bringing more data. I think the bottom of the part of the Viz was for me the most interesting. It was me comparing, like, taking the survey as of lifestyle in 2022, and then where we are now, and then the change. So, like, for each survey question, I tried not to have, like, so much detail and just be minimalistic about this, but you hover over it and you can see the actual survey question that they ask and my response. and what rendered a big change. And so there was one in particular here that my husband's really proud of. He started cooking fish, and I absolutely detest, and you could see by my survey results a year ago, I was super not happy and would not ever eat fish. But okay, he's a really awesome cook, and suddenly now I'm eating it 2 days a week. And look at the impact it's had on my life expectancy. And I knew that all along. It's a healthy thing to do. But now that I have the data, I like to tell him that he was right, and he likes to hear that. And so at the very end, I kind of try to do a summary of, of all of these survey questions, be it the most extreme this way or extreme this way, the ones that probably have the largest impact is not really diet, but it's you socializing. And getting out and being amongst a community. I think that was the number one thing that we saw in all 5 of those blue zones that they discussed. And on the flip side, it was how satisfied you are in your work life. So that can have the largest negative impact on your life. So it was a really fun topic. It was not an easy one, again, simply because of it felt like I was pulling lots of different stories. But as I said at the beginning, I don't think I would have done this without you guys. So thank you so much for helping me get through it.
It's so fun to see how they've come to life, because I think we're all saying, like, I mean, I haven't looked at mine probably since I submitted, because I was like, I can't, I'm done with this.
I can't.
I want to look at it.
I was like, what am I doing?
Like,
I forgot.
Oh wait, I forgot Jennifer did that, or I forgot this was part of Katie's. Like, yeah, this is fun. Oh man, Lauren, your turn.
Lauren.
My turn. Oh yeah, that's actually how I was gonna start, was that I don't think I've looked at this since we submitted it. So mine started out as this idea that I mentioned before of going through the 4 Greek words or Greek root words for love in the Bible. And then once I started getting into it, I realized that they're really not all 4 of them are in the Bible or in the New Testament.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, so I took a data set of all of the verses from the New Testament, pulled out anything that just contained the word love, and then went through verse by verse with interlinear Greek translation, and found what the Greek root word for it was. And found that.
I want to interrupt you because I want to say, like, you had to do a lot of data prep for this. Did you use Alteryx or anything like that, or was it more kind of?
No. So what I did first was I pulled the verse data into Tableau, and then did just some calculation contains love, and then exported that back out, and then just in Excel, verse by verse, like looked at the verse, looked at the interlinear translation, which is source at the bottom, and then typed whether or not it was agape or philia, basically.
I just wanted to say that really quick to say, like, it takes a lot of work to get the data you need for these visits. Like, there's a lot of behind the scenes things happening, and that is okay. Like, you don't want to spend too much time and get crazy, but sometimes that's necessary to tell these stories for Iron Viz, you know?
Yeah. Okay. And it definitely like changed kind of where the Viz went, since it was only these 2 words instead of me focusing on all 4 words as the overall theme. I kind of had to shift gears a little bit. But found that there are 325 total occurrences of the word love. And as I was looking into that and like typing out the data, prepping the data, realized that like a good story to tell would be to go from like the most granular to the least granular. So that's kind of what I did. I started with the number of words, love being in the Bible, with this jitter chart here of agape and philia. And then what?
That's so cool. Jitter chart.
Oh, thank you. And then zoomed out to the number of sentences in the number of verses. They're a pretty similar number. There are only a couple extra sentences compared to the number of verses. And then this right here, this bookshelf chart, was actually Jennifer's idea. And so major shout out to Jennifer, because I loved it. So you can check out a book, click on Ephesians, and it will drill into my love verse density chart here. So you can kind of see where. And yeah, so I got this idea as well from a book that Jade has. which is like a bunch of Bible data, which is really interesting. But I wanted, it was a little bit difficult to make because I wanted to show the gaps where there wasn't a verse that had love in it. And then zooming out, we did chapters and the number of books. And so this I kind of mapped by the author and what book division it was in. So you have the Gospels, Acts, Pauline epistles, general epistles, and Revelation. The network chart, I think
Favorite
Jade,
chart,
you
by the way.
originally, what?
I said that was totally my favorite chart, by the way, and the colors down here. Simply as a radial chart, I can't do radial chart person. I really liked that.
It was really hard.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Thank you. The network chart was originally Jay's idea as well. I think when you mentioned like having it where who was saying the verse and who was speaking to who, and it's going to be this huge mesh network thing, and that just did not work with the data that I had, so I
That
kind
was
of
a
had to
lot.
simplify it a little bit.
That was over ambitious. Like,
Yep, definitely.
I love where it landed. It's perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like it turned out to be a simple but beautiful story, and it helped me like learn about myself. I recently learned that there are different spiritual styles, so different ways that people connect with God, and one of them is the intellectual style, which is loving God with the mind. And so it's kind of like apologetics, getting into actually studying the word and learning. And so, you know, some people it's nature, some people it's music, some people it's caregiving, but for me it's this like digging into the word. And I didn't know that about myself because it wasn't something like reading the Bible wasn't something that I did a lot because I thought it was boring when I was growing up. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I appreciate all the encouragement from y'all. Like Jennifer said, I could not have done this without y'all. It was so hard. And yeah, I felt like I didn't even get started until like almost halfway through October, and then the data prep took over a week, and so then I'm like rushing to do all the visualizations by the end. But
It turned out so beautiful though, and I absolutely love this
So
topic.
beautiful.
I love it. You guys all well
And
So
done.
much.
I love your color palette too. It gives me like, because the Bible is, you know, an ancient text. Like it gives me an old world vibe. Like, I don't know. I really like your colors, and
thank
I don't
you.
know.
That was also really hard. I went through a lot of different color palettes with ChatGPT. I'm like, make it more earthy.
Yes, earthy. That's a good word. Yes.
I love it.
I love it.
And I got my first lesson in ChatGPT during Iron Viz. Thank you, Lauren. I was like, I've heard of this thing. I haven't used it. Sad to admit. And now I have. And now I love it.
It helps me with the title for sure as well. Yeah. And then like some of the wording, even in some of my paragraphs as well, I'm like, this is what I want to say, and I feel like I'm struggling to say it the right way. And so it helped
me
a lot.
wordsmith it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And I use Grammarly sometimes because I know I'm going to spell things wrong. But I think even just like as a way for me to additionally digest what I'm trying to say, it was helpful. So
yeah, I think I think it was you, Jennifer, that told us to download Grammarly, and that I did that and like clicked on every single one of my tooltips and text boxes and had it go through, and I found a lot of errors, so that was really great. Thank you.
Nothing's worse than submitting
Scary
and
after
going, I
downloaded
spelled
that
my title
thing.
wrong. Because that was me a few times.
Dang. I need to do that. I was literally like copy out of Tableau, paste into Word, like check for spelling. Your tip was better. Grammarly. Got it.
Love it.
And I don't know if y'all like talked about this earlier since I arrived late. But the scary email that we all got from Tableau saying like if you made any changes past midnight. So I just wanted to touch on the one change that I made that I let them know.
For the record.
For the record. But I feel like it's helpful to know, and Jade helped me as well, but this tooltip here is like a menu link. That's how I did I can't think of the word. Oh, the action on the dashboard action. And it was popping up whenever I was in Tableau desktop, but once I published it, when I would hover over this, it would not pop up at all. And it was because the tooltip on this actual worksheet was blank. So I literally just went and added a space in the tooltip, and then voila, it appeared. So yeah,
It's
so
crazy.
finicky.
Yeah, it's crazy how many like Tableau hacks or Tableau tips you learn trying to build something like this, and like how it looks in desktop. It could look just like a little bit different, especially if you're floating things in Tableau Public. And so, yeah, lots of
Oh
back and
yeah,
forth.
I was devastated over the font issue with the
Oh,
web safe
yes.
fonts. I had it all like beautiful and picked out, and then I published it, and I was like, "This looks horrible."
Yes,
Oh,
website
this
font.
is so fun. I love that we early on decided, hey, maybe we're gonna raise our hands. And then it
Mhm.
became a Teams chat, and then our ideas came to life. And you guys really, I loved the support that we had, and just getting feedback too. I'm somebody that's like, just tell me if it doesn't make sense. And sometimes you just need somebody to bounce things off of. So would I do it Iron Viz again? Yes. Hopefully I have folks to do it with again next year. Because otherwise I don't know. Like last year was a total
Theme dependent, I think, for me.
Mhm.
I like I feel like I need to do something where I'm really passionate about whatever topic it is, because it is just it takes a lot of mental capacity. So if you like care about it, it's so much easier to do than if you're doing something that you're not as interested in. But if all of you guys do it, I will do it again.
Oh, that would be
I have her
fun.
on record.
Yeah.
Because to everyone's point, I really don't think I would have finished had it not been for our support system. So definitely worth it to do if you have someone else alongside to do it with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you don't have a coworker, find a buddy in the data family, the Tableau community, because it's the big picture is there's a lot of people doing it. And that was one time that I feel like I used Twitter the most. It's because it's like, how are we all doing? How's everybody else in their Iron Viz?
Are we all surviving?
That felt pain that we all knew we were going through, that made it a little bit easier. That that's part of the magic for me too, though. Like you said, Jade, it's like your marathon, right? Like we're all in pain. We're all going through this
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, thank you guys. I really appreciate that we were able to like finish this out with a fun little bookend and recap our experience together. So thank you so much.
Yes,
really
let's do
appreciate it.
it. Even if we don't completely participate, we should at least like get together next year and be like, what are we thinking?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'd love to see everybody again, no matter where we land. And if other people in the data fam, like they don't have that support, join us, like
That would be really a fun idea, Jade.
yeah, like hang out. We can all like at least maybe one meeting where we bounce ideas off each other or something. That'd be kind of fun.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Love it.
Fun
Well,
stuff.
thank you all.
Yeah. Thanks,
you.
This was fun. Bye.